Hello and welcome to NAFDAC and Your Health, where we bring you all the important information you need to know about the regulatory activities of NAFDAC, that agency that has the constitutional mandate to safeguard the health of the nation by ensuring that the food, drugs, cosmetics, chemicals, and medical devices made available to us are safe and wholesome. My name is Opejemi Urimolade. Today's episode of NAFDAC and Your Health begins with the visit of the NAFDAC Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, to the Military Reference Laboratory at the Mogadishu Cantonment and Military Medical Center in Abuja, where she toured the facility and dialogued with the management on a partnership between the center and NAFDAC. And then, on the second segment, we will be looking at the trajectory of the NAFDAC DG's efforts on improving the laboratories of the regulatory agency to the world-class standard it has become. The firm belief in the strength of partnership to help achieve great results has been the driving force propelling NAFDAC to continually synergize with relevant agencies and stakeholders in achieving the agency's set goals and fulfilling her mandate. Of course, partnerships have helped NAFDAC break grounds and trudge on seemingly difficult terrains with ease, thereby fueling the agency's resolve to keep on. It was in the light of this that the NAFDAC Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, paid a visit to the world-class Military Reference Laboratory at Mogadishu Cantonment and Military Medical Center in Wuse 2, Abuja, to strengthen the collaboration between the agency and the Military Medical Center. The NAFDAC Director General was conducted on a tour around the center, and she was indeed impressed by the capacity of the center to do clinical trials. Speaking after the tour of the facility, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye acknowledged the great efforts that has gone into putting the center in place, explained the significance of clinical trials, and also gave the trajectory that culminated into the upgrade of the clinical trial laboratory of NAFDAC.
We've discussed at different levels in terms of the protocols, how things are progressing, but seeing is believing. When I got to NAFDAC 7.5 years ago, the clinical trial was not doing well. But I've interacted with NAFDAC 7 years before because I was doing my own clinical trial here in Nigeria from the US. And I passed through a furnace because of lack of communication. It was terrible. So it was good. I tell people it was good that I passed through very bad experience before I got to NAFDAC. So my focus, or part of my focus when I came, was clinical trial division. But you cannot do clinical trial in isolation. You have to build a system. We have 9 modules in our regulatory system strengthening, and clinical trial is one of them. This is WHO global benchmarking modules, but you cannot do just clinical trial and leave the others. It doesn't work that way. So I knew that even though I had this bad experience, I wanted it corrected. I knew that all the 8. The 9th one is license establishment, which is Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. They take care of licensing, facilities, and so on. And a lot has been done in the clinical trial division. We got the EC tab about 3-4 years ago, because when things are digitized, they are transparent. It makes things more efficient, and also saves lives, because if there is no transparency, then there cannot be accountability, you know. And clinical trial is tied to human life. We are taking these samples from this person, for retention, they have very low, very low turnover, you know, which is great. Sometimes it is not that easy to have low turnover rather. People will leave clinical trial maybe because of no proper arrangement or whatever, but people don't take care of protecting the human subject. At the core of clinical trial is protection of human subjects. So it is just very impressive what I've seen. Seeing is believing. And in terms of investigational medicinal product, I started with, if you build it, they will come. If I know it's going to work, we will support. But it's working already. So I don't see any issue at all. It's all about communication. You know, you need X, Y, Z, IMP for the year, and the protocols have already been submitted. Yeah. I don't see any problem about, you know, getting IMP at all. We have a problem in Nigeria, maybe, I don't know whether it's Africa. People think clinical trial is a money-making thing. It's not. It is research, raw research that you will be held accountable for. With all these things that I've seen, I'm just very impressed.
The NAFDAC DG also emphasized the importance of training and the efforts made by NAFDAC to train her agency staff in the area of clinical trials.
What we are trying to do, actually we've done it, you know, a couple of times, is train people. Train people. Stepping up in terms of training for investigators across the country. We are also making the eligibility stringent, more stringent. If you go on our website, you will see what is expected of a clinical research organization or center or whatever, because you cannot just go there without knowing what you want to do. That is a sure sign of failure. You don't need to get anybody to predict anything. Who are the people in charge? Are they qualified? So we are making it more stringent in terms of who does clinical trial in Nigeria. It is also very good for us as a country.
In his reaction, the Director General of the Center, Brigadier General Ibe Solebo, described the NAFDAC DG and, of course, the agency as one of the major stakeholders, expressing the center's intention to have a better collaboration with the agency.
You're one of our major stakeholders, and I think it's clear to all of us today that NAFDAC and the leadership of NAFDAC, not just NAFDAC, because we know what's happened in the last 7 to 8 years, that they are major stakeholders. What we are doing now is to ensure that we get the best collaboration possible, because I tell my colleagues, our partners, we say together, it's in the best interest of Nigerians. There's so much that's going on, so much we do in the armed forces for Nigeria, which is what we're supposed to do constitutionally, but people don't know about it. So what you said, a couple of our stakeholders have said the same things. There's so much we've done in the last 20 years with our partners. There's so much, the possibility is just endless. So we started on a note of transparency, collaboration, so we've met with so many other stakeholders. And we're actually finding out that it's helping the system, and that's why we're here. So we're going to continue to work with you now.
Brigadier Solebo extolled the enviable qualities of the NAFDAC Director General, promising to ensure that the center's services are of international standards. There was a show of appreciation to the NAFDAC DG for the visit. You're watching NAFDAC in your health. We will be right back. Please stay tuned.
NAFDAC has observed with dismay the wanton illegality of unlicensed vendors peddling drugs to unsuspecting members of the public, despite efforts aimed at tackling the menace of drug hawking. NAFDAC hereby advises the general public to desist from buying drugs from these merchants of death. Drugs sold by hawkers are fake, counterfeit, and substandard. The hawkers expose the drugs to inclement weather, which degrades their active ingredients since they are stored in conditions that render drugs poisonous. The drugs could therefore damage the liver and kidney or lead to the death of the consumer. Drug hawkers constitute threat to our national security. Hawking of drug is one of the main causes of drug abuse as victims continue to fetch drugs from unregistered and unregulated hawkers. Consequently, drug abusers soon succumb to the dilemma of depression, personality disorders, suicidal thoughts, mental disorder, sleep problems, organ failure, damaged immune system, memory loss, anxiety, social and economic problems. NAFDAC hereby warns those involved in the nefarious act of hawking drugs to desist from this illegal act or face the wrath of the law. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Welcome back to NAFDAC in your health. It is not surprising that the NAFDAC Director General, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, is ready to support and partner with the management of the Military Reference Laboratory. Ensuring that laboratories are of standard has been the passion of the NAFDAC DG, and this has been evident in her leadership at NAFDAC.
That was part of my first project to ensure that our labs are well resourced. And we have spent over 6 billion naira on lab equipment. Because if we do not test our food, our drugs, our medical devices or vaccines or whatever, we put the population at risk. The population, it will never be safeguarded in terms of their health. So that is premium to me. We have well-trained lab staff, and what they only needed was equipment to work with, and they've been, we've supported them all the way. Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons is located in our Food and Chemicals Lab. OPCW is headquartered at The Hague in Netherlands, and they were pleasantly surprised with the types of equipment that we have. They send samples to us, unknown samples to test. They of course train our staff too. So when they send unknown samples to you and you get it, that is part of the auditing that they do. And they were pleasantly surprised. That is how much we have invested in the lab, and it is the same thing with the food lab. The food lab is Center for Excellence in Africa. One of the centers of excellence rather in Africa, the food lab. And what we have to come out of a mentality of if you don't send it overseas or if it doesn't come from overseas, it doesn't work. It is a, post-colonial mentality. But again, I don't blame those who may be saying that, because NAFDAC of 5 years ago is no longer NAFDAC of today.
The certification of the NAFDAC Food Laboratory has given the needed endorsement and removed all forms of doubt about the laboratory's competence.
I met 4 laboratories that were accredited before I came to NAFDAC. I'm talking of just laboratory accreditation 17025, ISO 17025. But it is one thing to accredit a lab. It is another to maintain the accreditation. And you maintain the accreditation with good response from management, with equipment that the lab will need. So since then, all the 4 labs have been re-accredited. And it's not just that. The Vaccines and Biologics Lab in Yaba is the only lab, only in-house vaccines and biologics laboratory in sub-Saharan Africa. That was accredited January 2019, ISO 17025 accredited. But the mother of all accreditation is pre-qualification by WHO. So this is part of what we need to know in Nigeria, that NAFDAC is not stopping at ML3. We now have the Central Drug Lab with WHO pre-qualification. And we are not stopping there. Our goal is to make at least 3 or 4 of our labs pre-qualified, because we have 7 labs, including the Yaba lab. So we are not stopping at all. We're going to get to maturity level 4. We're going to get our vaccine laboratory to have WHO ML4.
Mr. Babatunde Yusuf is the Director, Laboratory Services, Food and Chemical Laboratory at the NAFDAC Central Laboratory, Oshodi.
What we do generally in the lab is that we analyze food products and chemicals, either for registration or for compliance sample. What I mean compliance sample is that those products that have been registered from time to time, they bring them in just to confirm that the standard is still maintained. Also, we carry out analysis of investigation samples, which may be as a result of if it is suspected by our inspectorate directorate that this product is not properly manufactured or is being falsified, or sometimes as a result of complaints from the public that they purchase certain products and that product for one reason or the other did not meet their expectations. So the inspectorate sample or post-marketing surveillance or enforcement directorate or any arms of NAFDAC directorate, if they bring such sample to us, we try to analyze and carry out the expected regulatory activities to enable us make pronouncements on the status of the product. Sometimes when some people, we have seen instances where some family we eat some product and for one reason or the other they are dead. So we investigate, carry out whatever the contaminants that might have been responsible from those products, from the leftover or even from the raw materials or the food ingredient that they use to produce those products, and then we make a pronouncement on those products. Any product that has to be registered by NAFDAC has to be analyzed, and the standard we use for analysis is not different from the other product. No matter how small the product is, how you look at it, we still carry out. We have specifications, procedure and method that we use so that this product meets the international standard. Because some of these small, micro scale products, some of them are even, some people are exporting it. So we have to ensure that the standard we use even meets international standard, at least at the point of the destination of those products. So it doesn't mean that it is small or large. We subject all of them to expected or required standard for those categories of products.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the program. Do join us again next week for another insightful package. We look forward to receiving your complaints, comments, reports, and observations on the activities of peddlers of unwholesome food products, fake, unapproved or expired drugs, cosmetics, medical devices, and chemicals. We are easily accessible.
You can reach NAFDAC via toll-free numbers. For inquiries, call 0700 162 3322. For complaints, call 0800 162 3322. You may also email NAFDAC at nafdac.gov.ng. If you have complaints about any form of misconduct, you can reach the Reforms Unit via email reforms@nafdac.gov.ng or call the Reforms hotlines on 0909 763 0506 or 0909 763 0507. NAFDAC, customer focused, agency minded.
Don't forget, importing, producing, advertising, distributing, and selling of unwholesome, fake, expired, or adulterated food products, drugs, cosmetics, and chemicals are criminal acts as they pose great danger to human health. Join the fight against these crimes by reporting all suspicious activities in your area to NAFDAC. Let's all be part of the effort to safeguard the health of the nation. Till we return next week, stay safe.